Mick Jagger, where did you make the album?
Oh, I don't know, everywhere, man. South of France, and then we did the mixing in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all right. It's hard work doing a double album. I never realised it.
Any particular reason why you did a double?
No, we just, I don't know, after a while we realised we gotten enough, you know, to do it, and so we decided to do a double album. But it's a lot of hard work when it comes to mixing it, for us anyway, because we get very perfectionist about it.
Is it difficult to keep the kind of roughness and spontaneity that the music has while you're going into all that mixing, you know, for days and days and days?
Well, as long as it's there on the tape, you know, it's all right. You can do what you like with it. I mean, the thing is, we recorded it on mobile, and which is great. But then in the studio, then you want to mess around with it a lot more than because you don't have all the echo that you have in a studio and everything. So when you're kind of mixing it, you want to mess around, especially when you've got like 18 songs. So then after a while, you want to make them sound different. You know, one different to the other, a bit more than you would normally.
None of us have heard the album, but is there anything you could say about its musical direction or how it relates to any of your earlier albums?
Well, I don't know. It's difficult for me really to analyse it. It's sort of it's pretty fast, very danceable. You know, we made one side very up tempo. You know, it was about like really, really fast. You know, and very dancey. And then another side's a bit more relaxed, and the other two are just a mixture. I mean, I don't know, musical directions. It's pretty straight, sort of. I don't know. People might say, you know, something else. I don't know. It's pretty straight stones to me. Good mixture of different kinds of styles that we like to do. It's quite nice. I mean, glad it's over, though, you know. Glad it's done. When they get on with the next one.
Most people get more sophisticated when they get older musically. You know, you seem to get rougher in a way. You know? Not
well, you know, it just, I know what you mean. I mean, you mean people get soft as they get older. Well, that's kind of true, I suppose. But this album just turned out the way it does. You can't really... it kind of, after you start something, it kind of has a mind of its own, you know, and it goes on. But then I would like to do something not softer, but a little, not sophisticated. I mean, I don't know, different, you know, but you know, these things, they come up, you know, if you're not... We just weren't in that mood at the time, the last summer making it. We just wanted just to play quick songs, you know, very rock and roll, you know, very quick, kind of dancey and commercial, rememberable tunes. But, I mean, I do like doing things that are a bit sort of strange sometimes.
Yeah. In the last couple of years, it's become a lot more apparent that Keith's had a lot to do with the musical direction of the band. You know, I think he seems to have come out a lot. What's your relationship with him when you're composing and recording?
Well, we work very much together, you know, that we always have done, really. I mean, I suppose, Keith's always written, you know, like, a lot of the songs, you know, we've always worked together, I suppose. You know, we work together, and then sometimes we write on our own, like, songs, you know, and then when we come to the studio, we change them around, and we might change the words, or, you know, if I have to sing one of the songs that he's written, then I obviously change it to the way, you know, I feel the melody goes, you know, and vice versa, you know. So you try every combination, but basically we work pretty much together, though I sort of write more of the lyrics rather than the melodies, though. So I say something sweet, you know, every possible combination, which is like 4 combinations.
Do you differ greatly in your attitudes?
Oh, yeah, we have... you know, I always accuse him of being a sort of out-and-out rocker, which he is, you know, but which is not completely justified. But, you know, no, it balances out all right, you know, because he's always rocking and I always want to do something, make it a bit different, you know. So it works out like that, you know, and then we get a nice balance, you know, and which is the point of 2 people writing, you know, otherwise you've got to have someone to sound off your ideas and he's got to have someone to sound off his, you know. So, and the best songs we've ever written are the songs that we wrote really together, I think.
What would you say those are?
Well, they're most of the ones that everyone knows, you know. I mean, I don't know, the most popular ones, you might say, you know, from Satisfaction and all that. But most of the ones that are really well-known were the ones we wrote together. I think that applies to John Lennon and Paul McCartney too. I think the best ones they written when they were writing together were actually the ones that they were really together on.
Maybe watching, while you've been out of the country, you've watched the T-Rex phenomenon. grown?
Well, I saw Mark Bolan in LA when he played his so-called debut, which was about the 4th time he played in LA, actually. He played in a ballroom, which is quite nice. And he was all right, he went down well. Looked nice. I thought he was best when he played his acoustic numbers, really, sitting on his podium. Rather like he is now. But, yeah, he was good.
What I wondered was how you reacted to what's happening. Like, for the first time, there's something growing up underneath your generation. You know, there's a new generation coming up, and you're, in a way, being displaced as the involuntary leader of the youngest generation that's expressing itself.
Well, I mean, I'm not 19, and nor's Mark Bolan, but, I mean...
but he's leading that.
Well, it's all right. I mean, musically speaking, I mean, I don't think you'll really have a new thing until you've got a new music. I mean, you know, while you're still basing yourself on sort of Chuck Berry, you know, you're still the same, unfortunately. I want something else. I mean, I don't want Chuck Berry until we die, you know, we've got to have something else, man. But I like Mark Bolan.
Are all the band involved all the time with the recording of the Stones album?
Basically, everybody's together to cut the tracks. After that, everybody sort of disappears and leaves it to Mick and I, because they get confused after a while. And everybody sits in the studio saying, oh, this should be louder, this should be... So we end up usually with Mick and I struggling along by ourselves.
Because you yourself lately have been working with Ronnie Wood.
Yeah, I did.
How did that come about, Keith?
Well, that came about while Mick was doing a few difficult vocals on his own for an album. And I was sort of just hanging around, with nothing to do particularly. One night Ronnie called me up and said, come down, I've got this fantastic rhythm section. Willie Weeks, Andy Newmark. Andy Newmark was with Sly, right, on the Fresh album. And Willie Weeks is known for his stuff with Donny Hathaway. And also, I think he's taken over sort of Chuck Rainey's position at Atlantic, doing Aretha sessions, you know. He's like a New York's hot bass player, you know. And I went down there just one night to see what was happening. And I got roped in to do a guitar overdub. And after that, I lived there for a month. I didn't see daylight. I love it. It's the lifeblood for me. For any band, I think. Any band that doesn't play live is only half a band as far as I'm concerned, because that is where it all comes from, you know. And I think with this new album, there's a sort of feel about it just because we'd come off stage just 3 weeks before and we'd been playing for 2 months solid, you know. And you can feel it, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
It's well oiled, you know.